It's here! It's finally Halloween! Honestly, I thought at the very least the AI bubble would have popped by now. We'd be living in the fucking Great Depression, but we made it! Oh god, I'm so happy. I can finally sit at my desk, make some popcorn, turn off the lights, and play some scary... Okay, maybe we should play something a little more safe. Well, if horror games are off the table, there are alternatives to get your Halloween fix. That's right, baby, I'm talking spooky levels! For Halloween this year, I'll be sharing my favorite creepy levels in non-horror games, because fuck you, this year is ass and I need to cope. Number 10, Big Boo's Haunt. Starting off our list is the level that scared every child on YouTube in the 2000s. Big Boo's Haunt is the epitome of the spooky level. Everything from the dark atmosphere and creepy carousel to the wandering ghosts and flying books goes a long way to draw me into the Halloween mood, and I always have fun revisiting this world. Aside from the piano, what also creeped me out as a kid were the floating eyeballs. They constantly follow Mario's every move, and they damage you if you try to attack them. If you haven't played this game before, I promise you'll love this level. Just be careful when getting onto the roof of the mansion. And remember, ghosts don't die. Number 9, Pumpkin Hill. Sonic Adventure 2 is probably my favorite 3D platformer behind Mario 64. And much like Big Boo's Haunt, Pumpkin Hill is dripping with Halloween iconography. As Knuckles the Enchilada, your goal is to fly around the place and find 3 Master Emerald shards while rapper Hunted P spits his lyrical miracles shit on the mic.
I ain't gon' let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel.
Okay. Strong start. I'll say this, like, do I feel like he's, maybe trying a little bit too hard to come off grating and abrasive on the lyrical side, like more than he really needs to? Yeah, kinda.
What I love the most about Pumpkin Hill is just how tall the level is. Not only does it give you time to soak in the music and atmosphere, but it gives you a lot of room to climb and fly around. But if you decide to revisit this level again for Halloween, just make sure to be careful. The hills aren't the only things with eyes. Number 8, Mysterious Funhouse. If you thought I was going to include the Halloween level for the PS4 game, then unsubscribe, you fucking tourist. All joking aside, I did enjoy Insomniac's first Spider-Man game a lot, but that moment doesn't hold a candle to the Mysterio levels from Treyarch's Spider-Man 2.
How much longer before my traps bring you down, Spider-Man?
Both the arena games and the Statue of Liberty section are already incredible in their own right. But once you arrive at the funhouse inside Quentin Beck's apartment, everything just cranks up to 11. Whether it's the giant Mysterio staring at you through the floor, or the mirror clones you have to throw hands with, this level is guaranteed to leave an impression that you'll never forget. Number 7, The Shivering Isles.
Now honestly, all the Oblivion gates are pretty terrifying, but damn it, they can't all make the list. The Shivering Isles has plenty of freaks and frights that'll have you quaking in your socks, unless you're not wearing any socks. Whether it's the undead tombs, our old pal Lumpy guarding the gate, or even yours truly, there's rarely a dull moment to be had. Not even Mr. Grumpy here can write it off.
I'm not grumpy! While I personally think the quests and storytelling of the Elder Scrolls is riddled with flaws, I can't help but love the world building and level design of the Shivering Isles. It's easily in my top 10 favorite expansions or DLCs. If you're looking for some tongue-in-cheek spooks this Halloween, you would have to be a madman to ignore this one. Number 6, Spooktastic World. How many of you remember Wario World? God, the GameCube has such a weird lineup. It's a 3D beat-em-up platformer where you throw hands with dinosaurs and robots, and it's full of a ton of optional puzzle levels that involve the use of the game's camera controls. Personally, I don't think the Spooktastic World is all that eerie. Hell, the second stage is basically just a carnival level. But it was a fun excuse to bring up this game. Honestly, I really need to just do a full video on Wario World at some point. I'll have to put that on the to-do list. Number 5, Bottom of the Well. Now we're starting to get into some of the more scary entries. I thought about including Majora's Mask, but given that I'm writing a huge video essay about it, I would rather save my thoughts for another video. I do want to mention a Zelda game though, and the Bottom of the Well from Ocarina of Time seems like the perfect inclusion. For those who haven't played Ocarina of Time, which is concerningly a lot, the bottom of the well is technically an optional dungeon that contains an item designed for the Shadow Temple. While fucking around in the past and gathering information from townsfolk, the player will eventually play the Song of Storms to the windmill guy in Kakariko Village, which will end up draining the well of its water. From there, Link traverses through a dungeon at the bottom of the well in search of any items, and because it's a Zelda game, you have a good feeling that there's going to be something worth your trouble. The walls of this level are stained with dried up blood. There's also quite a few torture devices just laying around, and there's even a flying skeleton head patrolling the first floor of the sewage system. But after collecting a few keys and making your way to the boss of this mini-dungeon, you'll be confronted by...
This thing always freaks me out. It looks like a balding lord that hasn't felt the sun in years. And why does it keep putting its hands all over Link? What is he, a Smash Bros player? No, bad touch! Stranger danger!
Number 4. Scarecrow's Nightmares.
This goblin gas hits different, Spider-Man. I mean, Batman, fuck.
Yeah, this is yet another section that Insomniac Spider-Man stole. I mean, borrowed from. Although, if you're gonna copy any ideas from the Rocksteady Batman games, this is probably the one. If you've played Arkham Asylum before, then you definitely will remember the Scarecrow Nightmare sequences. If you haven't, then you can get the game pretty cheap during a Steam sale. I picked up the whole 4 games for about, what, $12? What I really enjoy about these sections are the moments where Bruce is tripping balls. It's not only an interesting way to rehash the Batman origin story for those who aren't familiar with it, but it even goes full-on Psycho Mantis at a certain point and does a fake game over screen. The whole thing is just a complete mindfuck, and I always look forward to this part of the game whenever it shows up. Just don't let your demons pull you under. Speaking of demons... Number 3. The Shores of Hell. God, I really have to do a video on Doom at some point. My reason for including the entirety of the Shores of Hell episode is because it's the moment where Doom starts to lean into more of the satanic imagery. It's the first look we get at Hell in the game, and the episode caps off with a battle against the Cyber Demon. Among these levels, my favorite is probably Containment Area. It's the first level where you'll realistically be exposed to the plasma gun, and the close quarters combat with the storage boxes is pretty exhilarating. While the crushing ceilings can be a little annoying, they bring a fair bit of variety to the level. Demas Lab is also a pretty fun high point in this episode. It's full of dark corridors, and there's a large crushing ceiling with the yellow keycards at that you can use to crush one of the Barons of Hell. Overall, you can't go wrong with Doom. But if you want something that'll make you jump, I've got just the thing for you with these last 2 entries. Number 2. Ravenholm. Fast zombies, poison head crabs, a preacher with a shotgun. It's the classic horror setup. Ravenholm is one of those levels in gaming that borders on genuine horror game territory, but it's used in Half-Life 2 to bookend the first act of the story. The reason for this is because the developers at Valve needed a reason to diegetically ease players into learning the gravity gun. There's a proper tutorial before Ravenholm, but the Abandoned City is essentially a 3-tier exam. A lot of Valve's level design works like that, and Ravenholm is probably the best example of this, with how effortlessly it masks its true intentions. Within the context of Half-Life 2's story, it also shows what's at risk if we don't help the rebels defeat the Combine. This section is just a masterclass in game design, and it's the moment I knew that Half-Life 2 was undoubtedly one of the best games ever. But yet it's only number 2 on this list. Before we go over my top pick, I do want to cover some honorable mentions first. Threed was a level that crossed my mind, but I couldn't really do it justice in this video. I would totally check out Era's video on Winners though. He gives a pretty good summary there. The link for that is in the pinned comment. Another entry that didn't make the list was the Nightmare Before Christmas levels from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I'm just not a big fan of Kingdom Hearts, or at least the series as a whole. I do enjoy Kingdom Hearts 2, but I just wanted to focus on more interesting subjects for this video. It couldn't go unmentioned though, which is why it's an honorable mention. Finally, there's Lavender Town from the first generation of Pokemon games. It's a pretty creepy level in its own right, but my reason for mentioning it has to do with the Lavender Town Syndrome creepypasta. The story surrounding that has stuck with me since I was a kid, and I had to bring it up in some capacity. But enough stalling. What is my number 1 pick? What could I have possibly put above Ravenholm in this video? Number 1. 343 Guilty Spark. If you've seen my Comfort Games video I made earlier this year, then this probably wasn't a surprise to anyone. Alongside Metal Gear Solid 3, Halo Combat Evolved was the moment I realized that games could be more than just entertainment. And while Metal Gear sold me on its story, Halo was what taught me about pacing, atmosphere, and build-up. Everything about this level is nail-biting, right down to the terrified NPCs and the unrecognizable silhouettes running around in the distance. And as the tension finally reaches a fever's pitch, we're treated with this horrifying scene.
Why do we always have to listen to this old stuff, Sarge?
Watch your mouth, son. This stuff is your history. It should remind you grunts what we're fighting to protect.
Hey, if the Covenant want to wipe out this particular part of my history, that's fine by me.
Yeah, better it than us. You ask them real nice next time you see them, Vicente. I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige. Stay close, Jenkins. Mendoza, move it up. Okay, let's move.
Oh, which is weird, right? I mean, look at it. Something scrambled the insides.
What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident.
Right, well, let's get this door open.
I'll try, sir. But it looks like these Covenant worked pretty hard to lock it down.
Just do it, son.
Yes, sir. I got a bad feeling about this.
Boy, you always got a bad feeling about something.
Sarge, can you hear me?
What's going on, soldier?
We've got contacts, lots of them, but they're not Covenant. They're just tearing through us. What the fuck?
Hold still! Hold still! Sergeant, we're surrounded! God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon! Get back here, Marine! That's an order! Jenkins!
I knew as early as the second mission that Halo was special, but it was at this moment that I became a fan of these games. The reveal of the Flood elicits so many memories of my childhood, and I'll always be thankful that I got to grow up during this period of gaming. So that about ends the video. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I do this all as a hobby whenever I'm not at my fucking retail job, but I want to eventually do YouTube for a living. So if you'd like to support what I do, please share my videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next